Have you ever felt a quiet yet unmistakable pull toward a life far greater than the one you're living today? What if I told you that true wealth isn't just about numbers in your bank account, but a magnetic way of being that draws abundance, fulfillment, and joy into your daily reality? There's a call within you, a gentle urging to create an irresistible life, rich in purpose and prosperity. This book will guide you to discover, nurture, and express that inner calling, transforming possibility into reality as you walk each empowering step. Wealth is Calling. Create an Irresistible Life, written and published by Intentional Prosperity. Chapter 1. Hear the Call Within. Have you ever paused in the rush of your day and wondered if you are truly meant for something more? Imagine, just for a moment, that beneath the rhythm of your daily routine, there is a soft but insistent voice whispering about untapped potential and unclaimed abundance. This voice isn't loud or demanding. It often hides beneath the noise of worries and responsibilities, waiting patiently to be heard. But the truth is that gentle inner calling is real, and it is unique to you. It is the seed of your irresistible prosperity. So many of us find ourselves stuck in cycles of monotony, becoming experts at silencing our own desires in favor of meeting the demands of work, family, and society. It can feel like we are living on autopilot, following a script that was handed to us, yet never truly embracing the thrilling adventure that could be ours. We might find ourselves longing for excitement or deeper fulfillment, but push those feelings away, convincing ourselves that prosperity is a distant dream meant only for the lucky few. Perhaps fear of failure, self-doubt, or the noise of outside expectations drown out our hopes and make it hard to believe that change is possible. Inside, the quiet ache remains, nudging us, urging us to listen for something greater. This inner restlessness is not a sign of dissatisfaction to squelch. It is the very evidence that you are being called toward your richest life. The answer to this challenge is as simple as it is profound: to begin to truly hear the call within. Every journey toward prosperity starts from this one transformational moment, when you decide to stop ignoring or silencing your intuitive nudges and dare to listen to what your inner self is telling you. The process doesn't demand huge leaps right away. It beckons you to gently create room for curiosity about your own desires and dreams, and to treat your unspoken wishes not as foolish fantasies, but as sincere messages guiding you toward more. Rather than dismissing these inner promptings as impractical, you can view them as sacred insight, clues mapping out the path to a life that feels both prosperous and deeply yours. Honoring your inner calling isn't about making reckless changes or abandoning your current commitments. It is about waking up to the truth that your desires matter and that possibility is woven into the very fabric of who you are. When you take your inner voice seriously, a gateway opens to new energy, inspiration, and creative solutions that you may have previously overlooked. You begin to notice coincidences, opportunities, and strengths you didn't realize were in reach. Suddenly, what felt like distant dreams start to glimmer within the boundaries of everyday life, even before anything outside you changes. By learning to listen, you shift from chasing an elusive idea of wealth outside yourself to cultivating the conditions for prosperity within. It is from this internal wellspring that authentic abundance and a truly irresistible life can begin to take shape. If you take this first step and listen deeply, you may realize you are closer to your richest life than you ever imagined. To begin tuning into your inner call, start by creating intentional moments of quiet each day. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes, either at the beginning or end of your day, to simply sit in silence with yourself. During this time, close your eyes and ask, what do I truly want more of in my life? Listen gently for any thoughts, emotions, or images that arise, without judgment or expectation. Imagine yourself as a friend, curiously listening, noticing even the smallest nudges or questions that float to the surface. For example, someone who always dismissed a childhood passion for painting might hear a gentle urge to pick up a brush again. Another person who feels weighed down by work stress may recognize a craving for more freedom or creative time. These insights, no matter how faint, are the seeds from which a more prosperous life can begin to grow. After acknowledging these small messages, the next step is to document them in a dedicated journal. Writing down recurring thoughts, persistent dreams, or little sparks of curiosity gives form to your internal world and helps it feel tangible and real. Over time, review what you've written to notice patterns or themes. For instance, you might notice yourself longing for adventure, deeper relationships, or new opportunities. Realizing that these desires repeat themselves can affirm that they are not whims but genuine signposts. Liz, for example, spent months writing down her feelings, only to see that a longing for a more flexible life came up again and again. Eventually, she took her call seriously enough to explore remote work, which eventually transformed not only her career but also her daily satisfaction. When you combine quiet reflection with writing and give yourself permission to be honest, clarity begins to emerge. With that clarity, it becomes easier to take small but powerful actions that honor your calling. This might look like reconnecting with old friends, signing up for a class that excites you, or saying no to obligations that drain your energy. The immediate benefit is not always dramatic change on the outside, but an undeniable rise in confidence, creativity, and energy as your life begins to align more closely with your authentic self. Day by day, following these steps will build self-trust and momentum, strengthening your ability to trust your own guidance rather than the conflicting noise outside. A practical exercise for right now is to set a timer for 10 minutes tonight. Sit quietly and pose the question to yourself, what am I being called to experience more of in my life? Whatever arises, record it faithfully in your journal. Repeat this every evening for the rest of the week and observe any changes in your thoughts, emotions, or even events. Know that this process is ongoing, a living conversation with yourself that will evolve as you change. The journey to listening within is not a destination, but a repeating opportunity for self-growth, acceptance, and progress, no matter what stage of life you are in. Now that you've begun awakening your awareness to your unique call, the next chapter will guide you to define exactly what irresistible means to you. Your personal vision of prosperity is waiting to be discovered and claimed, one bold and beautiful definition at a time. Before moving on, please support our journey together by subscribing to the Intentional Prosperity channel, liking this guide, or sharing your own reflections and ideas down below. Your involvement helps shape our community and inspires even greater growth for everyone on this path. Chapter 2. Define irresistible on your terms. What if the life you find truly irresistible looks nothing like the dreams splashed across social media or the goals set by someone else? Imagine pausing right now, letting go of every expectation about success you've unconsciously absorbed, and daring to ask yourself, what does prosperity mean to me? For many, the idea of irresistible prosperity is clouded by the loud messages of society: bigger bank accounts, grand homes, luxury vacations, and status symbols. Yet, deep inside, you may secretly want a life filled with peace, spontaneity, loving connections, or creative fulfillment instead. The tension between what we feel drawn to and what we see praised all around us is disorienting and makes it difficult to own what we want without doubt or comparison. Many people move through life chasing dreams that aren't truly theirs, shaped by family traditions, cultural norms, advertising, or comparison to peers. The challenge is painfully familiar. You measure your progress against someone else's story and wonder why, even at your best, satisfaction still slips away. You reach certain milestones and find they don't bring the joy you imagined. This misplaced pursuit can leave you burned out, chronically dissatisfied, and skeptical of your true desires. Even when you hear your authentic call, as explored in the last chapter, you might dismiss it because it feels too different or small compared to the world's version of wealth and success. It becomes easy to question your instincts or to keep chasing what makes sense only on the surface. This inner confusion is a huge but often hidden obstacle on the road to a richer life. The transformative solution is to boldly define what irresistible means for you and only you, setting aside all outside expectations. Instead of looking outward for a template, look inward to your heart and lived experience. This is not about settling for less, but about daring to honestly clarify the specific blend of experiences, values, relationships, and feelings that represent true prosperity for you. Imagine stepping out of a crowded room of voices and into a sunlit, peaceful place where all you hear is your own steady heartbeat. In this new openness, you are free to untangle yourself from scripts that don't fit and start naming the dreams that actually excite your spirit. When you commit to this truth-telling, you begin to shape a vision that inspires you daily to take action, rather than a checklist that feels hollow. Defining irresistible for yourself unlocks a deep reserve of personal power. No longer trapped by comparison or the hunger to measure up, you redirect precious energy toward designing and living a life that feels rich in every sense. This clarity calms self-doubt, sparks authentic motivation, and builds resilience to setbacks, because your definition is alive with meaning and uniquely yours. As you begin to honor your true priorities and desires, you stop trading your well-being for approval or false security. This shift creates space for real growth that doesn't just look good on the outside, but feels right inside, inviting peace and joy alongside abundance. To begin defining irresistible prosperity on your own terms, the first action is to set aside dedicated time and space for honest self-reflection. Select a quiet spot where you feel comfortable and are free from distractions, and allow yourself the mental permission to question what truly excites and matters most to you. Bring a notebook or journal, and without censoring yourself, write down your heartfelt answers to questions such as, when in my life have I felt most alive and fulfilled? What are the activities, people, places, or moments that make me lose track of time and feel deeply satisfied? If no one else's opinion mattered, or if limitations didn't exist, what would an irresistible life look like for me? As you reflect, focus less on material outcomes and more on the core feelings or states you're hoping to experience: peace, connection, freedom, creativity, adventure, or comfort. For example, Nina, an accountant who had been chasing the next promotion for years, realized during one such reflection that what she craved was not a corner office, but a flexible work schedule and more quality time with her children. This truth changed the entire way she defined and pursued prosperity, allowing her to reconfigure her career to better support her values. The next step is to compare your authentic answers with the goals and ideals you've been working toward up to now. Gently ask yourself where your current path aligns and where it clashes with your real priorities. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if your heartfelt desires seem different from what you or others expected. This discomfort is natural and often a sign that you are on the edge of meaningful change. Take Rebecca's story as an example. After years dedicated to climbing the corporate ladder, she dared to admit that what thrilled her was building handmade furniture in her garage, not competing for boardroom promotions. When she stopped suppressing this longing and made space for woodworking in her daily life, she discovered a new well of joy and creativity, which later became a thriving small business. With each revelation, outline the small steps you can take to honor what you find irresistible. Perhaps it's as simple as carving out one evening a week for a passion project, or rethinking future goals so that they reflect your true priorities, not what you think you should want. The most powerful transformation comes when you consistently act in alignment with your personalized vision. Gradually, feelings of jealousy or inadequacy give way to deeper satisfaction because you're no longer borrowing someone else's definition of what success ought to look like. You'll also find you attract opportunities, relationships, and resources that complement and nurture your new direction, rather than distract or drain you. As a practical call to action, dedicate a few moments before you sleep tonight to jot down a vivid description or even a small sketch of your version of irresistible prosperity. Treat this not as a fixed destination, but as a living vision you'll revisit and refine over time. Tape it somewhere private or personal, and allow it to quietly guide your choices and focus this week. Remember, defining your vision is not a one-time task, but a continuous process. The more you dare to honor what is uniquely compelling for you, the easier it will be to build a life in full alignment, rich in meaning, authenticity, and enduring satisfaction. As you move forward in this journey, The next chapter will help you clear the mental clutter that obscures your evolving definition of wealth, making space for a clear and focused mind. Stay engaged, and if you're finding this exploration illuminating, remember to subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel. Give the guide a like and share your insights or suggestions in the comments to help shape and grow this community together. Chapter 3: Clear the Mental Clutter. How often do you find your mind overwhelmed by worries, racing thoughts, and distractions that make it hard to focus on what truly matters? Imagine yourself waking each day, eager to move toward your definition of prosperity, only to have your intention hijacked by doubts, to-do lists, endless notifications, and the constant comparison that creeps in from every corner. The reality is, your greatest dreams and goals can be easily buried beneath layers of mental clutter. Thoughts, habits, and beliefs that don't serve you, yet seem impossible to escape. This invisible noise can feel so normal that many people assume there's nothing to be done, resigning themselves to a state of scattered attention and low-level anxiety. Most people struggle with mental clutter without even realizing it. You might find yourself replaying conversations, dwelling on past mistakes, worrying about the future, or endlessly switching between tasks without ever feeling accomplished. There is a relentless sense of busyness, but a frustrating lack of progress. The more you try to push through, the heavier your mind feels. Even the pursuit of your irresistible life can begin to seem unattainable or draining when you are carrying unnecessary mental baggage. The clutter may also show up as persistent self-criticism, second-guessing your choices, or trying to measure up to unrealistic standards. Over time, this not only clouds your clarity, but can also drain your energy, dampen your confidence, and sap the excitement from your journey. The weight of unexamined thoughts becomes a silent roadblock, quietly dictating your experience and sabotaging the joy and success you deserve. The transformative solution lies in deliberately clearing a space within your mind, so your real desires and capabilities have room to grow. This isn't about silencing thoughts completely or pretending problems don't exist. Instead, it is the practice of gently noticing the clutter, getting curious about where it comes from, and choosing what to keep and what to let go. Think of your mind as a neglected garden, overrun with weeds and stray branches. The process begins by bringing empathy to yourself, deeply acknowledging that mental overload is a universal human experience. With compassion as your foundation, you become empowered to examine your mental landscape and pull out the weeds that are choking your growth. Small daily shifts like mindful breathing, setting aside time for reflection, or simplifying your commitments can begin to clear out what doesn't serve you. At its heart, clearing mental clutter is really an act of self-kindness and courage. Each time you name and release an unhelpful belief or unproductive worry, you create a pocket of peace and openness. In this inner stillness, your focus sharpens, your decisions become easier, and the path to your vision feels less foggy. When your mind is no longer a storage space for old regrets or imaginary worries, but a sanctuary for what matters most, possibility returns. Adopt this mindset, and you will realize how much more energy, creativity, and joy become available on your journey to irresistible prosperity. To actively clear your mental clutter, the process starts by first becoming aware of what fills your mind on a daily basis. Find a quiet moment and jot down recurring thoughts, worries, or objections that seem to occupy your headspace most. Simply seeing your inner dialogue laid bare can be a revealing and relieving first step. As you observe your mind's routine, practice pausing to ask, is this thought helpful or true? Does it support the life I want to create? If it feels heavy, critical, or outdated, consciously decide to release it. Picture yourself erasing a dusty chalkboard to make room for new ideas, or simply imagine sending that thought gently on its way like a leaf floating downstream. With time and practice, you train your mind to let go of what holds you back, while making room for the beliefs and ideas that feed your progress. Next, challenge yourself to limit unnecessary inputs from your environment. Consider small, manageable actions like cutting back social media time by even 15 minutes each day, or saying no to one obligation that offers little value. For example, Martin realized that scanning the news every hour kept him wound up, and distracted from his creative focus. Once he made it a rule to check headlines only twice a day, he found himself feeling lighter, with greater focus and the pleasant surprise of more spontaneous creativity throughout his afternoons. Small boundaries like these not only reduce mental noise from the outside, but also reaffirm your commitment to clarity from within. Building mindful habits supports this new mental space. Start or end your days with a few minutes of deep, focused breathing or a short journaling session. A chance to notice what's lingering in your mind and to choose gratitude or an intention for the coming hours. These rituals aren't complicated, but over time they create a habit of presence and self-care that keeps clutter from building up unnoticed. Lisa, for example, began each morning jotting down 3 things she wished to focus on, and every evening, writing down 1 thing she would let go of. This straightforward practice not only lightened her worries, but also crystallized what was actually important, leaving her more peaceful and motivated as she shaped her day. The reward for taking these simple steps is the freedom of a clearer, quieter mind. As you reduce the internal noise, your intuition speaks up more often and your sense of direction sharpens, making it easier to spot authentic opportunities and act on them. Mental clarity makes the process of creating prosperity far more enjoyable and focused, as you find yourself less distracted, more inspired, and more resilient to everyday setbacks. Over time, decision-making becomes a choice made from calm confidence, not confusion or second-guessing, and the energy once lost to spinning thoughts can finally move you forward toward the goals you value most. As a practical next step, try setting aside 5 minutes right now to do a mental inventory. Name any distracting thoughts and consciously picture letting them go, scribbling a few words on paper if that feels right. Continue this exercise each evening this week, noticing how you feel as your mental garden begins to clear. Embrace this as a lifelong practice. Just as clutter returns, you will always have the tools to clear it away and reaffirm your vision. By consistently clearing space within your thoughts, you foster a richness ready to welcome true prosperity. Looking ahead, you'll soon discover how to rewire your entire wealth identity, shedding inherited stories about what you deserve, and finally putting fresh, empowering beliefs at the core of your financial and personal journey. If you found value in these insights, support our shared path by subscribing to the Intentional Prosperity channel, liking this guide, and sharing where you most need clarity or how you practice mental space in your life. Your engagement helps nurture a vibrant community that grows together. Chapter 4: Rewire Your Wealth Identity. What if the true barrier to prosperity isn't your skills, your luck, or your circumstances, but the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve? Imagine living in a house with windows so dusty that you can barely see the sunlight outside. The possibilities for abundance are all around you, but old beliefs about scarcity and limitation cloud your vision at every turn. Many people long for greater prosperity while secretly believing wealth is reserved for someone else, or feel guilty for desiring more than they have. These silent scripts are inherited from childhood, shaped by culture, family, and past disappointments. Over time, they form a powerful part of your identity, quietly sabotaging efforts to reach higher and holding you back from fully claiming the life you want. If you pause and examine your thoughts about money and success, you may notice patterns that don't make sense, such as, "I'm not good with money," or "rich people must have cheated to get there." Perhaps you recall hearing your parents argue over bills, or internalize the message that dreaming big leads to disappointment. These beliefs settle into the back of your mind, shaping how you approach opportunities and react to setbacks. Even as you try to shift your external reality by working harder, criticizing yourself, or chasing new strategies, these old stories quietly reinforce a ceiling on what you believe is possible. The pain is subtle, but ever present. No matter how much effort you invest, your sense of deserving, self-confidence, or inner peace never truly grows in step. You may find yourself self-sabotaging with procrastination, passing up new avenues before giving them a fair shot, or feeling unease even when success does arrive, as if you're waiting for it all to be taken away. The transformative solution begins by recognizing that your wealth identity isn't fixed. It can be rewired. The beliefs you carry are not an unchangeable fate, but a collection of mental habits that can be rewritten and upgraded. You have the power to shape a new story, one that supports your freedom to imagine, create, and enjoy prosperity. The key is to treat these limiting beliefs as old mental blueprints rather than universal truths. Like a gardener choosing what to remove and what to nurture, you can gently uproot scarcity thinking and deliberately plant the beliefs that match your truest vision. This is not a matter of overnight change or pretending circumstances don't matter, but of building day by day an inner identity that welcomes abundance, growth, and joy with open arms. Embracing this process means you stop working against yourself and start creating internal alignment. When you rewire your identity, trying harder on the outside is finally matched by genuine self-trust on the inside. The benefits ripple outward. You make decisions with calm clarity instead of overreacting to criticism or setbacks. You greet opportunities not with worry or defensiveness, but with a quiet readiness. Over time, prosperity becomes less about striving and more about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts and embodies it. This shift clears the way for new levels of possibility to emerge, not just around wealth, but across your life, as you learn to recognize your true capability to create and receive. To begin rewiring your wealth identity, start by bringing old beliefs into the light. Take a quiet moment and write down the first thoughts and feelings that arise when you think about wealth, prosperity, and your personal potential. Notice if your mind repeats phrases like, "I don't deserve this," "money always slips away," or "people like me don't get ahead." Allow yourself to observe these stories with curiosity, not blame. Acknowledge that these beliefs may have roots in past experience or absorbed messages, but they are not hardwired truths. Recognizing the origins allows you to disown them as your fate and instead see them as forgotten scripts you are now free to edit. Next, choose one limiting belief to focus on and gently challenge it. Ask yourself, where did I first learn this? Does this belief make my life lighter or heavier? And what's a more empowering truth I'd rather act upon? For example, if you grew up believing that money causes conflict, you might recall family arguments that shaped this view. To challenge it, search for or create a counterexample, perhaps noticing someone in your life who uses money ethically or generously, or pointing to times when you used your resources to help others. This step of active questioning not only weakens the grip of old thinking, but invites fresh perspectives to take root in your mind. Rachel, for instance, had always seen herself as someone doomed to scrape by. After exploring her beliefs, she began attending free community workshops on investing, just to expand her view. Over time, she discovered a talent for budgeting and saving that had been masked by her old self-doubt, and she began to make choices from a place of growth rather than fear. To lock in new beliefs, create small rituals or practices that reinforce your upgraded wealth identity. Each morning, write down an empowering phrase that supports your new mindset, such as, "I am capable of learning new ways to prosper," or "I am worthy of peace and financial security." Place these reminders somewhere visible in your daily routine and pause to repeat them, even for 30 seconds. Then, when opportunities or challenges appear, ask yourself, how would someone with my new identity respond? By taking small actions aligned with these empowering beliefs, your confidence and self-image grow stronger and more natural. Over time, your outer results begin to mirror your inner shifts, as you make decisions with more freedom and hope. As you apply these steps, you'll notice a shift in not only what you do, but also how you feel. Old anxieties and habitual self-sabotage begin to fade, replaced by a growing sense of capability and optimism. You may find new opportunities showing up, ones you would have dismissed in the past. Relationships and collaborations that once felt intimidating may now expand naturally as you bring more of your authentic self to the table. Most importantly, you'll notice that luck and prosperity are not reserved for a chosen few, but are built step by step as you rewrite the story you live by. To set this change in motion, try tonight to write out one limiting belief you uncover about money or deserving, and craft a kinder, stronger statement to replace it. Say the new statement out loud and visualize yourself moving confidently through a day with this mindset. Treat this not as a single effort, but as a lifelong renovation. Each time you replace old thinking with new, the entire structure of your wealth identity is made more supportive of growth and fulfillment. In the next chapter, you'll learn to align your vision with decisive action, transforming new beliefs into forward motion that builds real momentum for your goals. If this chapter helps shift your perspective, remember to subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel, like this guide, and share in the comments a belief you're ready to outgrow or the positive changes you envision for yourself. Your commitment inspires others and strengthens this growing community. Chapter 5. Align Vision with Action. What if you could bridge the gap between your dreams and your daily life, transforming distant hopes into tangible progress? It's a possibility that can seem magical, almost too good to be true, but it begins with a single, empowering shift, aligning the vision in your heart with consistent, intentional action. Many people nurture beautiful dreams of prosperity, imagining the life they long for with vivid clarity, but find themselves endlessly waiting for the perfect moment or for motivation to appear. The days pass and the river of time pulls them away from their goals until their vision fades under the weight of routine demands, doubt, or perfectionism. This frustration is all too common. Maybe you recognize yourself drifting on a tide of well-meaning intentions, telling yourself you'll start tomorrow or when you have more time, all the while feeling off balance, like you are not living in alignment with your true desires. After working to uncover deeper dreams and heal limiting beliefs, it can be especially discouraging to realize little has changed in your outer world. The plans remain on the page. The excitement of a new mindset gets stifled by inaction. Sometimes the problem feels overwhelmingly practical. You worry you lack the resources, skills, or energy to start something new, or that you'll fail outright and confirm your old doubts. At other times, the disconnect is more subtle, manifesting as uncertainty about the next step, or a feeling that your vision and your reality are marching to entirely different music. This silent struggle wears down even the most passionate spirits, trapping possibility in the realm of someday rather than now. The transformative truth is that prosperity is activated at the intersection of vision and purposeful movement. Instead of waiting for all circumstances to be perfect or for fear to dissolve entirely, you can choose to direct small, certain actions toward your most meaningful goals, infusing your daily habits with the power to build your dreams brick by brick. Aligning vision with action is not about massive or dramatic change overnight. Rather, it's a commitment to translate even the faintest desires into real, consistent steps. Each effort, however small, acts as a statement to yourself and the world. My vision matters, and I am willing to move toward it. This approach relieves the pressure to be flawless or to have every answer in advance, shifting your focus toward progress over perfection and process over end result. At the heart of this solution is the willingness to ask, what is one thing I can do today that brings me closer to my vision? By making your goals visible in daily decisions, whether that means dedicating 15 minutes to writing, saving a few dollars toward a big dream, or simply starting a conversation that inspires possibility, you close the gap between intention and reality. Through these accessible actions, you reinforce a powerful self-image, one of a person who doesn't just wish or hope, but builds a life step by step in the direction of their richest aspirations. Doors begin to open, energy flows more easily, and over time, your habits provide proof that your vision is not just a beautiful idea, but an unfolding and attainable reality. To put vision into action in your life, start by naming one clear and inspiring goal that aligns with your version of prosperity. Write it down where you will see it daily, a simple phrase or sentence that reminds you of your destination. Next, identify the smallest step you could take right now, something so manageable that it removes the pressure to wait for a perfect moment. For instance, if you've imagined running your own side business, you might choose a simple starting point, like researching one success story every morning or reaching out to a mentor for advice. If developing financial freedom is your focus, your small step might be tracking today's expenses or opening a savings account without delay. Each of these beginnings, though modest, anchors your intention in real movement instead of mental wishing. Keep momentum building by choosing another small action daily or weekly, always connected to your central vision. Consistency is more important than size. Take inspiration from real examples. Gina always dreamed of creating art, but never found time. Instead of waiting for a large window of free hours, she began sketching for 15 minutes each night after work. Within a month, art had not only become a joyful habit, but opportunities to display her pieces arose. David, who longed for deeper health, started by drinking a glass of water every morning and scheduling a 10-minute walk. These changes seemed minor, but they created confidence, sparked new ideas, and soon led to bigger shifts. When your actions are small and so accessible, they become part of your regular rhythm, rewiring both belief and behavior. Celebrate every movement made, no matter how minor, a congratulatory note, a journal entry, or sharing progress with a friend. Progress thrives when recognized. As wins accumulate, you'll notice your inner resistance fading with each proof that you are someone who takes meaningful steps. Doubt shrinks, replaced by energy and curiosity to try even more. The journey shapes a new sense of time as well. Instead of feeling trapped by routine or a sense that it's too late, you discover that each day is rich with possibility. Motivation and focus are renewed not by force of will, but by the satisfaction of building your dreams in living color, right within your daily life. As an immediate practice, try this tonight. Review one meaningful goal and ask yourself, what is one step I can take in the next 24 hours to honor this vision? Choose the step, no matter how humble or easy, and complete it with intention. Write down how you feel before and after. Do this again tomorrow. Accept that some days will bring more energy and progress than others. What matters is the return, not the perfection. Each step reinforces your identity as a creator of your own prosperity, turning theoretical visions into momentum and real triumphs. Growth is not about radical leaps. It's about faithful, persistent, and loving movement in the direction of your dreams. Looking ahead, the process of aligned action will naturally call for structure and support, daily systems that make it even easier to keep promise to your vision. In the next chapter, we'll explore daily magnetic habits, the keystones that turn fleeting efforts into consistent, long-term progress without strain. If you're finding this guide helpful or want to shape our community with your ideas, subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel. Give this guide a like or share your successes and struggles with aligning vision and action in the comments below. Each voice strengthens our journey, making prosperity more real for you and for everyone reading. Chapter 6. Build daily magnetic habits. Can a handful of small positive habits be the hidden force that draws prosperity toward you, almost as if by magic? Imagine waking up each day with the quiet confidence that your regular actions are gently shaping your future, pulling opportunities, energy, and abundance closer with seemingly effortless momentum. This kind of magnetism is not about luck or sudden breakthroughs, but about the steady power of daily routines aligned with your greatest aspirations. Across cultures, histories, and personal success stories, one single truth stands out. Long-lasting change and irresistible prosperity are built not from willpower alone, but from consistent magnetic habits that support your vision. Still, many people struggle to bridge the gap between initial motivation and long-term follow-through. The spark of a new idea fades after the first wave of excitement, replaced by frustration and the return of familiar, unproductive routines. Perhaps you've experienced this cycle yourself, determined to exercise each morning, save money, write, connect, or develop a creative skill, but find yourself slipping after a few days or weeks. The disappointment grows, combining guilt over missed opportunities with confusion about why, despite the best intentions, nothing truly sticks. Over time, repeated cycles of start and stop can begin to erode self-trust. It starts to feel as if you're destined to fail or that change is reserved for some other kind of person, someone with more discipline, fewer distractions, or greater luck. The transformative solution begins by seeing your daily habits not as burdens or tests of will, but as simple, repeated choices that quietly accumulate into dramatic results. Magnetic habits work by removing heavy expectations and making the process of change almost automatic. They rely on consistency rather than grand gestures, allowing you to succeed through gentle repetition rather than force. These habits act as invisible compasses, redirecting your actions and thoughts again and again toward the life you want, even when your motivation wanes or obstacles appear. When you choose habits that support your vision, you place yourself on a path where progress feels inevitable and setbacks are only temporary detours, not dead ends. Over time, this approach transforms not just your results but your identity. You come to see yourself as someone who honors commitments, builds trust with yourself, and welcomes growth as a natural part of life. Adopting this mindset offers more than improved productivity. It allows you to harness momentum in every area that matters. The consistent experience of small successes ignites confidence, draws in opportunities, nurtures resilience, and weaves self-care directly into your daily fabric. Suddenly, prosperity is no longer a distant hope that demands heroic effort, but the logical consequence of routines purposefully selected to nourish your goals. As each habit takes hold, your days become invitations for abundance, and life begins to respond to your steady signals, rewarding your faithfulness with growth that feels both inevitable and delightful. To put the magnetic power of daily habits into action, begin by choosing one simple behavior that directly supports your most important vision. The habit should be small enough to integrate into your life with little resistance or willpower. For example, if prosperity to you means better health, your habit could be drinking a full glass of water immediately after waking up, or taking a brisk 5-minute walk each afternoon. If attracting career opportunities is your goal, your daily habit might be as straightforward as sending a single thoughtful email to a potential contact each morning. When you focus on one tiny habit, you eliminate overwhelm and set yourself up for repeated wins, regardless of your starting point. Next, create an environment and rhythm that supports consistency. Anchor your new habit to something that already happens in your daily routine, such as brushing your teeth, preparing coffee, or commuting. This technique, known as habit stacking, allows your chosen action to become automatic over time because it is linked to a familiar activity. Oscar, who wanted to improve his financial habits, started reviewing his spending for 5 minutes right after dinner each night, using an app on his phone. At first it felt awkward and easy to forget, but by placing his phone on the dinner table before his meal, he gave himself a visual reminder. Within weeks, the review became second nature, not only helping his savings grow, but shifting Oscar's sense of control over his future. Track your progress, even in the simplest way, and celebrate each successful repetition. Check off each day you complete your new behavior and allow yourself to feel genuine satisfaction with the tiny victory. Over time, these moments layer into a longer track record, reinforcing your belief in your ability to create change. Olivia, a busy teacher, began a gratitude habit by jotting down just one thing she was thankful for every evening before bed. She marked each day in her calendar, and after a month, she looked back realizing her whole outlook had brightened. She slept better, and her conversations with friends had deepened in joy and openness. The benefits of magnetic daily habits build far beyond the specifics of any single practice. By accumulating daily proof that you can trust yourself to act in your own best interest, you develop self-respect, resilience, and momentum. Obstacles or off days become much less threatening when your identity is rooted in an ongoing commitment to growth and self-care. Opportunities begin to gravitate toward you almost naturally. People notice your positive changes. Coincidences and resources seem to appear more often, and new solutions to long-standing problems become clearer. Over time, the energy you pour into your magnetic habits expands not only your results, but your sense of who you are and what is truly possible. As you consider your next step, choose one area that feels most important to the shape of your future, and select a single action you can practice daily for a week. Keep this goal small and trackable. Invite a friend or community member to join you if you prefer accountability, or simply reward yourself at week's end for showing up, regardless of how effortless or challenging it felt. View this as just the beginning, a commitment to gentle, lasting transformation. In the next chapter, you'll learn the vital skill of identifying and eliminating energy drainers, those unseen habits, relationships, or routines that quietly siphon away your power and hinder your journey to prosperity. By clearing these blockages, your magnetic habits can shine even brighter. If you're feeling inspired or want to share what habit you'll start building, subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel, give this a like, and post your intentions or suggestions for our community in the comments. Your participation multiplies our shared growth and brings us all closer to an irresistible life. Chapter 7. Eliminate Energy Drainers. Have you ever wondered why your progress stalls, even when your motivation and intentions are strong? Imagine you are trying to fill a beautiful vessel with water, only to realize it keeps leaking from unseen cracks no matter how much you pour in. If prosperity is the water and your daily life the vessel, then energy drainers are the cracks silently stealing your efforts, leaving you tired, unfocused, and frustrated. The truth is, most people underestimate the invisible effect of these daily leaks on their productivity, joy, and dreams. Though you might believe you simply need to try harder, more willpower alone will never overcome an environment or mindset that quietly drains your reserves. If you reflect on your typical week, you might recognize common culprits that steal your energy little by little. These could be cluttered spaces, toxic relationships, unhelpful habits, or even self-criticism that plays on a constant loop inside your mind. Many find themselves overloaded, multitasking until nothing actually feels complete. Others notice their moods swing after spending time with certain people, or they carry emotional burdens from unfinished conversations and unresolved worries. At times, the drain comes from routines packed to the brim, leaving no moments of rest or renewal. This slow, steady loss of energy can leave you feeling perpetually behind, even as you work harder or make the simplest goals seem distant and unattainable. The weariness becomes such a normal part of life that its sources are rarely questioned. The transformative solution lies in an honest audit of what feeds you and what exhausts you. Just as you check the health of your surroundings to ensure you're not living with hidden leaks, you must turn attentive eyes on all aspects of your routine and relationships. Energy drainers often go unnoticed until we invite stillness and examine what leaves us feeling lighter or heavier after each experience. By bringing awareness to the subtle sources of exhaustion, you empower yourself to make gentle but powerful changes, clearing the physical clutter that disturbs your peace, choosing uplifting relationships and boundaries, or adjusting your habits one at a time to support your well-being. This isn't a call for dramatic disruption. Instead, it's about shifting daily choices by degrees until your environment, routines, and inner landscape nourish your growth instead of working against it. When you adopt this perspective, the rewards are remarkable. Imagine waking with an unexpected sense of lightness, your mind no longer foggy but open to new possibilities. Without background stress pulling at your attention or toxic interactions weighing on your heart, you recover energy that was always yours, a resource you can redirect toward creativity, focus, and genuine connection. Each time you choose to release an energy drainer, you signal to yourself and others that your well-being matters. Over time, this simple ongoing practice transforms your days from weary endurance into intentional, energized living, making space for your prosperity to flourish naturally, unimpeded, and more satisfying with every step forward. To reclaim your power from the hidden drains in your life, start by setting aside a quiet moment to take inventory of your energy. Reflect on the past few days, paying attention to what leaves you feeling lighter and what makes you feel tired, frustrated, or unfocused. Write down specific moments, places, activities, or people that you remember depleting your energy. This honest assessment is the first key step, because naming just one or two energy drainers brings clarity, allowing you to focus your efforts without judgment or pressure to overhaul your life all at once. Choose one source of depletion, however small, and consider a manageable change. For example, if constant notifications on your phone distract and tire you, commit to silencing them for an hour each day. Lisa found herself feeling exhausted after every visit to social media, so she made a rule to unplug after dinner every evening. Within a week, she was sleeping better and noticed improved focus during the hours that mattered most. If clutter in your workspace brings you down, give yourself 10 minutes at the start or end of the day to tidy just one area. When Anna, a freelance designer, dedicated a quarter hour before each work session to clear her desk, she discovered not just an organized surface, but a new wave of creativity that made her work more enjoyable and productive. If you recognize the drain of a difficult relationship, begin gently by setting a small boundary, such as limiting time spent, preparing yourself emotionally, or having one honest conversation to express your needs. Peter struggled with a colleague who regularly complained and interrupted his workflow, leaving him anxious and tired. By kindly but directly communicating his need for quiet time each morning and keeping the door to his office closed for just 20 minutes, he protected his best energy for important projects and saw his mood and efficiency rise. As you make incremental shifts, observe how your mood, productivity, and mental clarity improve. Each small choice builds awareness and reinforces self-respect, proving that even seemingly minor changes yield real relief and create a ripple effect in every area of your life. The more sources of draining energy you address, the more easily your daily habits and goals align with your natural creativity and ambition. You'll find yourself having more to give to loved ones, feeling more adaptable in the face of challenges, and approaching your big life goals with new optimism and energy. Consider taking action tonight. Identify one energy drainer and experiment with reducing its impact for just a week. At the end of the week, reflect on any benefits, no matter how subtle. As you repeat this process and expand it, your environment and mindset will evolve, making space for the prosperity and fulfillment you are designing for yourself. Remember, this journey is ongoing and perfection is not required. Steadiness and intention bring the greatest rewards. Next, you will discover how to master your emotional currency, the feelings and inner states that can either enrich or bankrupt your pursuit of prosperity. By learning to manage your emotions with skill and gentleness, you'll gain a powerful new tool for turning wealth into a wellspring of joy and meaning in every facet of life. If you feel empowered by these strategies or want to help build a thriving community, subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel, like this guide, and share your insights or favorite tips for preserving your energy. Every comment and suggestion helps our collective journey toward a truly irresistible life. Chapter 8. Master Emotional Currency. Have you ever considered that your emotions are just as powerful and potentially just as valuable as money in shaping the prosperity and experiences of your life? Imagine entering each day as if you carry an invisible wallet, not of cash, but of energy-rich feelings, confidence, gratitude, curiosity, and hope. These emotional resources influence every choice you make, every relationship you build, and every door that opens or shuts along your path. Too often, however, we treat our emotions as background noise instead of the powerful currents they are, missing out on their true value and letting them spend themselves in ways that do not serve us. For many, the pursuit of prosperity is often sabotaged by unexamined emotional habits. Days that begin with inspiration can quickly spiral into frustration after a difficult conversation, setback, or disappointment. The ups and downs feel uncontrollable, as if we are passengers on a ride ordered by the moods and opinions of others, or by the passing events of our days. You might recognize the pattern of setting a new financial or personal goal. At first, you feel bold and excited, but the smallest obstacle leaves you deflated, and in moments of doubt, motivation drains away. Or perhaps you find yourself cycling through anxiety or envy when you compare your progress with others, making even your achievements feel empty. These emotional reactions drain focus, energy, and creativity, the very same inner wealth needed to take action toward the life you truly want. The empowering solution is to learn to master your emotional currency. This means gaining an awareness of your feelings and learning to manage and invest them wisely, much like you would thoughtfully tend your finances. Mastery does not mean denying, repressing, or trying to sugarcoat uncomfortable emotions. It means building the mindful skill to notice, understand, and redirect them purposefully. When you learn to treat your emotional energy as a resource, you naturally become more intentional about how it's spent and how it's replenished. Instead of letting outside influences dictate your mood and outlook, you become the steward of your own emotional experience, able to shift from states that drain you into ones that nourish and empower. Adopting this perspective changes your relationship not only with your feelings, but also with your goals, your work, and your relationships. You realize that feelings such as joy, courage, and optimism do not have to be fleeting. They can be cultivated and strengthened by regular habits, much like building up a savings account. Moments of irritation, fear, or jealousy become opportunities for learning new approaches, not signals to give up. As your skill improves, you start to experience setbacks as temporary dips instead of permanent defeats, and your newfound emotional resilience makes daily challenges easier to navigate. Ultimately, mastering your emotional currency delivers greater clarity, fulfillment, and enthusiastic action, making true prosperity possible from the inside out. To turn emotional currency into a source of prosperity, begin by regularly checking in with your feelings throughout the day. Pause and ask yourself, what am I truly feeling right now? Notice these emotions without judgment, allowing anger, disappointment, or excitement to surface with gentle curiosity. For example, if you feel anxious before a big meeting or decision, identify the sensation without rushing to fix it. This self-awareness is like checking your balance before spending. It helps you see exactly what emotional resources are available and what needs attention. Once you notice your emotional state, find ways to replenish positive emotions intentionally. Consider simple habits like taking 5 slow, deep breaths when you feel agitated, stepping outside for fresh air if you're stuck in a spiral of negativity, or recalling moments of gratitude at the start and end of each day. Maria, a manager facing daily workplace stress, made it a habit to pause at her desk each midday, closing her eyes for 1 minute and visualizing 3 recent wins, no matter how small. The result was a calmer afternoon and more enthusiasm to share her ideas. You do not have to force happiness. Rather, you create conditions for joy and calm to rise more readily. Next, practice redirecting challenging emotions into constructive action. When envy or frustration arise, treat those not as weights, but as signals that point toward desired growth. Tim, an aspiring entrepreneur, once let jealousy toward more successful colleagues undermine his focus. By training himself to pause, acknowledge the discomfort, and then write down one lesson he could learn from each person, he transformed envy into motivation. Over time, the sting faded, and a sense of camaraderie and inspiration took its place. Channeling emotions like this means you no longer spend emotional wealth unwittingly on worries. Instead, you invest it in growth and self-reflection. As you work with emotional currency, you'll experience tangible benefits. Relationships become more harmonious, work becomes more fulfilling, and you find yourself recovering more quickly from setbacks. Even your body will thank you. Emotional mastery supports lower stress, better sleep, and greater resilience overall. Your confidence builds alongside your ability to make thoughtful decisions instead of reacting automatically to passing moods. Over weeks, this steadier outlook opens doors, both personally and professionally, since others are naturally drawn to those whose positive energy and presence inspire safety and hope. For a practical exercise, set the intention to check in with your emotional balance 3 times tomorrow, morning, midday, and night. Each time, note your primary feeling, honor it without resistance, and ask what small action might nourish or support a better state. You will find this gentle practice both grounding and energizing, reminding you that prosperity is as much about mastering the inflow and outflow of feelings as it is about anything material. As you continue on the journey, the next chapter will uncover the magnetic power of authentic living, showing how the truest version of yourself attracts exactly the kind of wealth, relationships, and adventures you most desire. To deepen your commitment to growth, subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel, like or share your experiences in the comments, and offer tips or stories about managing emotions. Each voice in our community helps us all expand our wealth, meaning, and joy together. Chapter 9. Attract through authenticity. Imagine if being truly yourself was not only enough, but was actually the most magnetic force for drawing opportunity, relationships, and prosperity into your life. What if every time you allowed your genuine thoughts, feelings, and desires to be seen, you signaled the world that the real you is ready to receive what's uniquely meant for you? Too often, we wear masks and adjust our words or actions to fit into someone else's expectations. This performing can seem necessary for acceptance or success, but over time it creates a subtle disconnection between who we really are and the life we are living, making fulfillment seem just out of reach. Many people carry the burden of people-pleasing or hiding pieces of themselves in fear of criticism, embarrassment, or rejection. You may recognize this in your own life: the polite yes when you wish to say no, the guarded silence when your heart longs to speak, or the carefully curated version of yourself presented online that feels somehow incomplete. Over time, maintaining these facades drains energy and creates feelings of imposter syndrome, or a quiet sense that you must prove your worth at every turn. You may even find yourself attracting the wrong relationships, jobs, or opportunities, situations meant for the costume and not your actual character. When you live this way, you not only limit your joy, but also block your greatest strengths and the invaluable ease that comes with showing up as your unfiltered self. The transformative and surprisingly welcoming solution is to cultivate radical authenticity, to gently let go of roles that do not fit and step fully into the power of your own story, gifts, and flaws. Embracing authenticity is not about refusing to grow or refusing feedback, but about honoring your real temperament, values, and passion as the foundation for your connections and achievements. Just like a radio finds its clearest signal when correctly tuned, your life comes into sharper focus when you align your inner reality with your outer expression. This act of embracing the real you not only frees you from the exhausting cycle of performance, it also generates a magnetic energy that draws like-minded people, opportunities, and ideas without force. Living and attracting through authenticity allows you to build trust, both with yourself and with others, in the purest sense. When you reveal your truth, people sense your integrity and respond with their own openness. Doors open where there was once resistance. Paths appear where uncertainty once dwelled. Each authentic step reminds you that you are worthy by virtue of being yourself, not because of how well you mimic someone else's success. As you learn to trust your preferences and express your beliefs, you no longer chase approval, you invite resonance. And those who accept your most honest self form the cornerstone of a truly rich and meaningful life. To begin attracting abundance through authenticity, the first step is self-exploration. Set aside time for quiet reflection and honestly ask yourself where, in daily life, your words or actions diverge from your true feelings, opinions, or values. Allow yourself to gently notice these moments without blame, as if highlighting parts of a map that you wish to rediscover. For instance, Sarah realized that although she loved creative writing, she always silenced herself in team meetings, favoring what she thought others wanted to hear. Recognizing these gaps created not guilt but curiosity, a starting point for her to practice sharing small ideas and stories at work. With new awareness, take one manageable step toward authenticity by expressing your true perspective in a situation where you'd typically hide it. This might mean politely declining an invitation you don't want to accept, or sharing a genuine opinion in a conversation where you'd usually stay silent. David, for example, often agreed to social events he didn't enjoy just to keep peace. When he began kindly but clearly setting boundaries, opting out and suggesting alternatives he preferred, he found he had more genuine energy for the people and projects that truly meant something to him. Gradually, others began respecting his time and preferences more, and his relationships deepened as people sensed and responded to his realness. Nurture environments in your personal and professional life that celebrate authenticity. Surround yourself, where possible, with people who honor differences and share their truths, too. Consider joining a group, community, or class outside of your comfort zone, places where you can experiment with being more candid, creative, or vulnerable, free from the roles you usually play. When Anna joined a weekend journaling circle, she tentatively shared a story she found meaningful but feared was too personal. To her relief, her story resonated deeply with others, sparking supportive conversations and lasting connections. Each authentic step reinforces the liberating experience that you are not alone. Others are waiting for individuals who give them permission to be genuine too. As these actions ripple outward, notice the positive shifts. Your confidence grows and emotional resilience deepens as you care less about surface approval and more about true resonance. New opportunities and relationships appear, aligned with who you are, not who you were pretending to be. Rejection feels less threatening, and when it does appear, it guides you away from the wrong places, leaving you available for what's truly compatible. Life becomes richer, interactions more satisfying, and your sense of fulfillment multiplies even when circumstances externally seem unchanged. For a practical next step, select one area this week, in work, friendship, hobbies, or family, where you feel a desire to be more authentic. Choose a single interaction or decision where you will share your real opinion, feeling, or creative idea. Afterwards, reflect on how the experience felt and any new openings or relief it brought. Record these reflections and revisit them often, watching your life subtly change as your authentic self takes the lead. Remember, authenticity is a lifelong practice, not an all-or-nothing switch. Every small act in this direction multiplies your capacity to draw in the right kind of success. Next, you will see how to leverage value with purpose, ensuring that what you offer the world is rooted in meaning, helping your abundance and positive impact multiply side by side. If these lessons resonate, support our community by subscribing to the Intentional Prosperity channel, liking this guide, or sharing your honesty journeys and self-discoveries in the comments. By sharing, you help all of us become more courageous and prosperous together. Chapter 10. Leverage Value with Purpose. Have you ever stopped to wonder what could happen if every action you took and every skill you developed was rooted in a deep sense of purpose? Picture a life where the ways you show up, at work, at home, and in the community, don't just earn you rewards, but also multiply your sense of meaning and impact. The key to truly irresistible prosperity is not only to possess value, whether that's talent, creativity, generosity, or resilience, but to consciously direct that value where it is needed most, anchored in what matters deeply to you. When you leverage value with purpose, abundance follows, and doors open that you may never have noticed before. Yet for many, a disconnect persists between hard work and real fulfillment. Perhaps you're diligent, always striving to add value or get results, but find yourself asking why your efforts sometimes feel hollow or unrewarded. You might be so focused on proving your worth, chasing external success, or simply getting through the day's obligations that you have little energy left to consider whether those investments reflect your truest priorities. This sense of being busy but not purposeful can manifest as weary predictability or a nagging feeling that something essential is missing. As time passes, you may achieve what others admire, but wonder why satisfaction remains elusive or why your contributions don't seem to catalyze lasting prosperity or recognition. The transformative answer lies in discovering and intentionally connecting your efforts, resources, and talents to a larger sense of mission. Instead of asking, "How can I get more?" you begin asking, "How can the best of what I offer truly make a difference for myself and for others?" This mindset shift transforms every context: your job, your relationships, your community engagement, from a series of transactions into opportunities for meaningful exchange. By aligning your actions with a purpose that excites, moves, or inspires you, you infuse every task with a sense of importance, which can turn even small efforts into significant impact. Your talents, skills, and experiences become multipliers. When used in service of a deeper goal, they don't just sustain you, they create ripples that extend well beyond your own life. Adopting this approach triggers a positive cycle. When you bring intention and passion to the value you offer, the results feel more significant and satisfying. Opportunities and allies begin to appear, and others are magnetically attracted to your clear commitment and vision. The energy you put out is amplified because it resonates at a level greater than mere productivity or obligation. By leveraging value with purpose, you open yourself to both greater abundance and a life rich with meaning and connection, transforming everyday labor into a legacy of impact and fulfillment. In this way, the pursuit of prosperity becomes not just about personal gain, but about creating something larger, something enduring and joyous for everyone touched by your unique gifts. To move from intention to practice, begin by identifying the unique value you most naturally offer: skills, strengths, experience, or even the authentic compassion you demonstrate in your connections. Ask yourself, what do people thank me for? Or what ignites my energy and brings real satisfaction, even when there's no immediate reward? Write down your answers without overthinking. Once you identify a few recurring themes or gifts, reflect on what matters most to you at this point in your life. This is your personal sense of purpose, which need not be grand or global. Often, the most impactful purposes are deeply personal, rooted in your lived experience and desires. Next, look for ways that your value can meet your chosen purpose in daily actions. For example, if you're a great listener who values connection, consider dedicating a short daily call or message to someone who may need encouragement. Paul discovered his talent for explaining complex ideas and his commitment to educational access. He began volunteering as an online tutor for local students, and over time was offered a paid role that matched both his skills and values, increasing his sense of contribution and starting a new career path. Similarly, Mia, who once felt lost in the monotony of her customer service role, found new energy by focusing her gift for empathy on helping anxious clients. Her days became more rewarding, and her efforts were noticed, leading to advancement. To strengthen this connection between value and purpose, regularly revisit and refine your purpose statement as you evolve. As new opportunities or challenges appear, pause and ask, how does this align with the deeper meaning I want to create in my life and in the lives of others? By staying conscious of purpose, you avoid drifting back into autopilot or giving away your talent out of obligation or habit. Instead, you gain discernment about where to focus, knowing that every act, no matter how routine, carries the possibility to multiply meaning and prosperity. As you practice leveraging value with purpose, watch for the ripple effects. Your energy rises as routine work becomes a form of expression rather than mere survival. You'll notice you attract collaborators, friends, and opportunities that share your values, creating more enjoyment and a strong, supportive network. The quality of your accomplishments improves as purpose infuses even minor projects with dedication and care. Furthermore, setbacks and frustrations hold less power over you, as your actions are guided not by fleeting results, but by commitment to something lasting. Over time, your story builds confidence. You see firsthand the difference your unique contribution makes, inspiring you to invest more intentionally in your gifts. As a simple but powerful practice, take 10 minutes before bed tonight to write out a statement that links one special skill or strength you possess to an area that you deeply care about. Perhaps using the prompt, I create value by offering your skill to help community people problem you care for, because it brings meaning to us both. Then choose one easily achievable way to express this link tomorrow, whether in a conversation, a favor, a creative act, or supportive gesture. By consistently choosing such purpose-driven actions, you transform simple efforts into lasting impact and discover that fulfillment and prosperity multiply together. The journey continues in the next chapter, where you'll learn to expand your beliefs, opening your mind to even greater possibilities for growth and freedom than you may currently imagine. Each belief you shift is a new horizon, awaiting your courage and curiosity. To keep growing with like-minded seekers, subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel, like this chapter, and share your value, purpose stories, or intentions in the comments. Your engagement uplifts all of us, strengthening our shared purpose and reaching far beyond what we can achieve alone. Chapter 11. Expand what you believe. What if the limits you encounter in your journey toward prosperity are shaped not by your external circumstances, but by the beliefs you hold, often without realizing it? Envision a horizon bathed in golden light, stretching far beyond what you can see. In reality, most people build invisible fences at the edges of that horizon, restricting themselves to safe territory defined by what they believe is possible for their lives. Your thoughts are powerful architects, quietly shaping the boundaries of what you allow yourself to experience, seek, and create. The most important upgrades you can make on your path to an irresistible life will often be to the beliefs guiding your vision and your actions. It is easy to get trapped inside a familiar story about yourself and the world, feeling stuck in patterns that repeat no matter how much effort you put forth. Maybe you have been told, directly or indirectly, that people with your background, qualifications, or temperament can only go so far. Over years, perhaps without even knowing it, you start accepting these beliefs as fixed reality and adapt your dreams accordingly. You may wish for more confidence or financial ease, but if you believe deep down that success is for someone else, your mind unconsciously finds ways to avoid risks or minimize ambition. Fear of failure, comparison to others, or the memory of past setbacks become unintentional walls confining your next steps. This limited mindset erodes not just your dreams, but your daily joy and confidence, quietly convincing you that the highest achievements, deepest relationships, or greatest freedom are beyond your grasp. The transformative solution lies in expanding your beliefs, a process that is as liberating as it is accessible. By simply questioning the old stories you have absorbed and beginning to experiment with new possibilities, you open space where previously there was only perceived limitation. The power of your mind is such that when you repeatedly expose yourself to fresh information, hopeful models, or bold new experiences, your beliefs slowly recalibrate, accepting wider futures as normal rather than intimidating. The core idea is to treat beliefs as hypotheses, not verdicts. They are patterns you've practiced, not permanent facts. With awareness and repetition, you can gradually trade constraining fears for a worldview rich with hope, courage, and genuine opportunity. Expanding what you believe does not mean rejecting reality or living in denial, but learning to see and seize the greater options available. When you practice this shift, doors that seemed sealed begin to crack open, and strengths you never dared to count on emerge. The expansion of belief is a continuous invitation to growth, allowing you to move through uncertainty with curiosity and self-compassion. The more you see beyond the old limits, the more naturally new ideas, support, or resources flow into your life. This is how you gradually design a reality of potential rather than one of restriction, making daily choices that reinforce not your fears, but your growing trust in everything you can become. Begin the process of expanding your beliefs by becoming curious about the boundaries you currently accept as true. Take a few quiet minutes and write down one or two persistent thoughts about your limits, such as, "I'm not creative enough to build my own business," or "People like me aren't meant for financial freedom." Challenge these beliefs gently. Where did they come from, and do they really stand up to honest questioning? Look around for evidence to the contrary. Notice stories of people who have defied similar boundaries, or recall a time in your own life when you surprised yourself by surpassing past expectations. This kind of reflection shakes loose the foundations of limiting beliefs and gives you permission to experiment with new mental models. To move this process forward, expose yourself purposefully to new experiences, people, and ideas that stretch your vision. If you dream of entrepreneurship, read about or listen to interviews with people from backgrounds like yours who succeeded. If you want deeper relationships, seek out positive examples or join supportive circles. Even a single uplifting conversation can shift your sense of what is possible. Elena, for example, grew up thinking she lacked leadership skills because she was shy as a child. When she began volunteering at a local nonprofit, she saw firsthand that her empathy and steadiness made her a natural leader among her peers, and her belief in her own limitations gave way to a brave new path of career advancement. By taking even small risks and trying something outside your normal pattern, you gather real-life proof that your world can widen and that adaptability and growth are yours to claim again and again. Whenever an old limiting belief tries to return, meet it with a fresh affirmation, grounded in possibility instead of restriction. This could be as simple as stating, "I am open to discovering that more is possible for me," or "Every experience grows my capacity for abundance and joy." Affirm these ideas daily and align your actions where you can by saying yes to new opportunities or interests, even if they feel slightly intimidating. James, who long assumed he would always struggle with money, challenged himself to read a book on financial management and take a course he felt unqualified for. The more he stretched his belief set, the more manageable everything became, and soon he found himself saving and investing in ways he'd once seen as out of reach. Each practical step built confidence until the old boundaries seemed far behind. By consistently testing the edges of what you believe, you infuse your life with the excitement and hope of ongoing discovery. The transformation is unmistakable. Greater freedom, more self-trust, stronger relationships, and a playful courage to pursue the dreams you once dismissed as impractical. When your inner landscape is broadened, you give yourself permission to grow without limit, making each day a canvas of new potential. As an encouraging practical step, commit to expanding just one belief this week by seeking out an inspiring story, joining a new group, or gently challenging one negative fact you've held about yourself. Journal about what you discover. As the journey continues, remember that growth is not a sprint but a steady adventure. Every time you stretch your mind, your reality stretches with it. In the next chapter, you will explore how to live as wealth embodied, learning to show up fully as the person who welcomes and creates prosperity at every level of being. Stay engaged by subscribing to the Intentional Prosperity channel, liking this guide, and sharing in the comments one belief you're ready to outgrow or one new vision you're daring to explore. Your experiences fuel a wave of collective growth, reminding us all that the expansion of possibility is limitless when we grow together. Chapter 12. Live as Wealth Embodied. What if prosperity was not simply something you chase, but a state that you can embody fully, right now, regardless of what flows into or out of your bank account? Imagine stepping into each room with the quiet assurance of someone who knows, at a deep level, that abundance is already alive within. This isn't about pretending you have it all together or ignoring external realities, but about showing up for life every day from a place of wholeness and sufficiency. A state where your actions, thoughts, and energy all radiate the truth of your own richness. The magnetic quality of someone who lives as wealth embodied is unmistakable. People gravitate toward them, opportunities open more readily, and life seems to respond to them with grace and generosity. Yet, for many, the idea of being wealth rather than constantly striving for it feels foreign, even unattainable. Most people live in an endless waiting pattern, tying their sense of security and joy to future events, a raise, a new client, the next milestone. This mindset creates a constant undercurrent of anxiety and a sense of never having quite enough, no matter how much progress is made. The focus stays on what is lacking, the goals not yet achieved, the resources that seems a step away, the love or recognition still hoped for. The pressure to prove your worth or hustle your way into abundance becomes overwhelming, leading to burnout or never-ending dissatisfaction. In this state, prosperity is always out there, an external prize you may chase for years, with only fleeting moments of satisfaction in between. The solution is both profound and practical. You can learn to live as though you are already wealthy in spirit and identity, regardless of your present circumstances. Embodying wealth is about more than positive thinking. It's about grounding yourself in the daily practice of abundance, celebrating strengths, nurturing gratitude, honoring your unique journey, and investing in meaningful actions with a sense of sufficiency rather than scarcity. When you begin to perceive wealth as a lived internal reality, your presence shifts. Decisions are made from trust, not fear. Relationships deepen because you no longer seek validation from others, but offer the richness of your authentic self. Instead of running on the treadmill of endless self-improvement, you learn to move with relaxed focus and welcoming openness, knowing that true wealth is as much about being as it is about doing. The core idea at the heart of living as wealth embodied is to align your daily experience with the feelings, actions, and mindset of someone who already trusts in their prosperity. You treat challenges as invitations for growth, not threats to your worth. You say yes to opportunities that feel aligned and no to those that drain you, believing in plenty rather than lack. Gradually, this shift affects how you speak, walk, and interact, drawing more abundance in because you act as a magnet for the very things you hope to experience. The benefits aren't just external, though you may begin to see more success, recognition, or joy. They run deeper, granting you a peace and vibrancy that sustains you through every season of life. Begin embodying wealth by intentionally practicing gratitude for everything you already are and have, no matter how small. Each morning, take a few minutes before your day begins to acknowledge not just your material blessings, but the qualities, talents, and experiences that define your inner richness. Alex, once always anxious about making ends meet, shifted his focus each sunrise to savor his creative spark, his loving relationships, and even the progress made through setbacks. Over time, that practice transformed his attitude and the way others treated him, helping him attract career opportunities that mirrored his newfound self-respect. You can try this practice in silence, in writing, or by sharing your gratitude with a friend. Whatever makes it real for you is the perfect way. Just as essential as gratitude is the practice of carrying yourself as someone who innately trusts abundance will come. When making decisions about money, relationships, or self-care, ask, how would my wisest, wealthiest self respond here? Emily, for example, faced a choice between accepting a job offer she felt lukewarm about or holding out for an opportunity that truly matched her passion. Remembering her commitment to live as abundance, she declined the first offer despite her discomfort with uncertainty. Only a few weeks later, a role that ignited her enthusiasm appeared, and her willingness to act from sufficiency instead of lack created a ripple of confidence and satisfaction. Practicing this in daily choices helps you trade fear-based decisions for those grounded in trust and vision, attracting far richer rewards over time. Surround your life with symbols, reminders, and actions that reinforce the wealth you aim to embody. Declutter your living and working spaces, curate experiences and relationships that uplift, and make self-care non-negotiable. Cameron, who spent years chasing more distraction and noise, began retreating to quiet with a good book, a healthy meal, or supportive company as small ways to declare, I am wealth embodied. Transforming these routines doesn't only increase well-being, it reshapes the unconscious story you tell yourself, bringing congruence between your self-image and your day-to-day reality. The greatest transformation occurs when you commit to giving from your sense of abundance. Begin by investing your attention, talents, or kindness intentionally, not as an obligation but as a declaration that what you offer to others, the world, and yourself returns multiplied. Small, meaningful acts, offering your mentorship, celebrating others' wins, or lending an encouraging word, shift the energy in your relationships and your environment, and over time they echo back in the form of new connections, opportunities, and goodwill. To begin, select one way to embody your wealth in the week ahead. Choose a gratitude ritual, a decision that comes from sufficiency rather than scarcity, or an act of giving that stretches your comfort. Journal about the effects you notice, repeat, refine, and let these practices grow into habits. In these simple but profound behaviors, you'll learn that living as wealth embodied is not reserved for a lucky few. It is a continuous, dynamic relationship with your own potential that you can choose in every moment. Thank you for dedicating time to grow with this journey through Wealth is Calling. Create an irresistible life. As you move forward, continue to practice these skills, celebrate your progress, and know that each intentional choice is shaping not just your future, but also expanding what's possible for everyone around you. Your commitment to internal transformation is building sources of prosperity that will serve you and your world far into the future. I appreciate your presence and your willingness to step into a new vision of living. For ongoing inspiration, knowledge, and supportive community, please remember to like this video, leave a comment about your personal progress or suggestions, and subscribe to the Intentional Prosperity channel. Wishing you joy, fulfillment, and lasting abundance on every step of your path.